سارة، صار عندي حادث سيارة واتصلت بالمحامي قاجي.
قصدين انتي المحامي قاجي؟
ها، يعني هذا المكتب اللي قالوا عليه أكبر مكتب محاماة عربي كلداني بأمريكا، قاجي؟
لا أنا محامي بالقاجي لا. أنا أعرف لورنس، هو قال لي قاجي لا.
أنا أعرف العائلة زين، يقولوها قاجي.
بعد أي حادث سيارة اتصلوا بيا، أنا محامي لورنس قاجي. 248-702-6641 248-702-6641.
أعزائي المستمعين، أهلا وسهلا بكم في برنامج المحامي لورنس قاجي. First of all, welcome Mr. Qagi.
Thank you, son. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm great.
Thank you.
What about you, Mr. John? Welcome.
You know, it's wonderful to be back. Thank you so much for having us.
أهلا وسهلا بك. Welcome.
And it's been a few weeks. I'm sure you miss all of us.
No. It's okay. It's okay. We miss you, but we have.
He didn't miss us at all. Okay, he got to take a nice break.
We did a lot. وطبعا معنا الأخت العزيزة الست تمارة. أهلا وسهلا ست تمارة.
أهلا وسهلا بالجميع.
طبعا اليوم حديثنا راح يكون أيضا نرجع على قضايا السيارات طبعا.
أكيد.
وشنو اللي راح يحصل إذا صار واحد عنده حادث، ليش عليه أن يتصل بالمحامي أو يستشير محامي، شنو السبب. هذا الشيء اللي المفروض كل أبناء جاليتنا يعرفوا شنو أول ما يصير حادث شيء يسوي.
Yes. Thank you. We are going to today begin talking about how it is important to when you get in a car accident, especially the holidays are around the corner and
Yes.
everybody's busy and
Rushing.
Exactly, not paying attention. It is very important to get a lawyer immediately, or just as have some information or just talk to somebody when you get in a car accident, because there's some things that we are going to go over that we need to know immediately what to do after a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this topic is pretty timely because, like you said, the holidays are coming up. Forbid someone gets into a car accident and they wait until after the holidays to contact a lawyer, and some things
some things can wait and some things can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because I've had so many clients that come into our office 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. We actually had a call this morning that was accident was 6 years ago. And they something happened where they didn't give certain notice requirements, which we'll talk about, or didn't make a police report in time, or things of that nature that kind of limits your benefits. And I always ask why did you guys wait so long to come to us? And they give me various reasons. Sometimes they don't think that there's a need to hire a lawyer at that time, right? So their claim is still open, it's still billable. The insurance company is still paying, they're still treating, everything seems like it's fine, but there are time provisions that we need to work with in order to make certain claims and to get paid on certain benefits.
Yeah. اليوم الحديث مالتنا راح يكون خاصة احنا على وجه الأعياد، والكل مستعجلة والكل تريد توصل والكل تريد تسوي شغلاتها. إذا صار شيء، لو صار حادث وهم مشغولين يقولون ورا الأعياد نخابر عود المحامي لو نشوف شنو القصة. أكو قوانين جدا مهمة، ومرات إذا تتعطل ما تقدر تحصل الأشياء اللي أنت لك حق بيها لأنه بيها وقت محدد.
بس تتأخر شوية مو زين.
بالضبط.
Yeah. And I'll just we'll kind of start with the most urgent request that the insurance companies have, right? So in the policy, sometimes, John, you'll see a provision that they have to make a police report, right, within a certain amount of hours after the accident.
You're absolutely right there. There's a provision in a lot of what's called the uninsured motorist policies, which we've talked about before on this show, that requires that you have that you notify the police specifically within 24 hours. Otherwise, you may not be entitled to essentially get the compensation that you otherwise would have gotten. But actually, even before you get there, I think if I can back up slightly, there's a provision. The important thing is that you have a policy in force at the time of the loss, even before you get to the 24-hour notice of the police or anything else. I can't stress this enough. I have people coming into me. Literally, someone came in today, okay, with a policy that was canceled or supposedly canceled in November, okay? And the law requires that insurance companies give people 10 days notice of cancellation, okay? Because whether it's an uninsured motorist provision, okay, whether it's a personal injury protection provision, whether it's a bodily injury provision, you will get nothing if you have no auto insurance policy in force at the time of your accident. So I think before anything else, if you've got a notice outstanding, that's immediately a time to make sure you pay your premiums. But also, if you've just been in an accident, you come in, you see an attorney and say, hey, what do I do with this?
أول شيء جدا مهم إذا صار عندك حادث، أهم شيء بأنه تخبر محامي أولا حتى نشوف إذا أنت البوليسي مالتك هل هي بعدها ماشية لو لا. أكو قسم من البوليسيز من القانون مال البوليسي
نعم.
لازم تخبر الشرطة خلال 24 ساعة. أكو ومو كل البوليسيز عندها فيعتمد على منو. فلذلك أحسن شيء بأنه رأسا تتصل بمحامي. أكو غير أشياء بأنه فروع بأنه إذا صار عندك حادث وأنت ما تدري أكو غلط بالبنك ما سحبوا يجوز ما عندك أنت تغطية ذاك النهار، بس قانونيا
نعم.
أنت إذا باليسي مالتك يريدون يلغوها قانونيا لازم خلال 10 أيام يدزوا لك رسالة
نوت.
بالضبط.
نعم.
يقولوا لك أنت ما عندك باليسي. فليش إحنا نقول رأسا نتصل بالمحامي
حتى هو يتصرف.
إذا ما مستلم أنت خلال هاي 10 أيام هاي الورقة،
نعم.
بعد إلك حق بأنه ترجع الباليسي مالتك.
نعم.
لو إلك حق عندك تغطية في أي شكل أو آخر نقدر نسوي لك تغطية.
يعني قصدك مو أنه expire لو أنت ما دافع البيمنت 10 أيام. الإكسبايرد لو إذا أنت ما دافع هم يريدون يوقفوها لازم عندك 10 أيام نوت
قبلها بالضبط.
حتى لو هي expire.
No, expire غير شكل. He is asking, does it expire?
So this is exactly what we're talking about, right? So what we're talking about is this. Let's say that you purchased a policy through, name an insurance company A, okay? Yes. If you've purchased that insurance policy and at some point, for whatever reason, let's say your credit card expires or, you forget to mail in the check, they don't get a payment, okay?
Yes.
The bill that they have sent by itself, okay, is not sufficient to be a notice of cancellation. This is super important because a lot of insurance companies will try to say, hey, you didn't pay your premium, it's already canceled.
Yeah.
That's actually not accurate. It's super important. There's a provision in Michigan law, there's a statute that says they have to issue an actual notice. They have to send you a letter that says your policy will be canceled. Will be canceled, not in the future, not already in the past.
No, it's not canceled. It will be canceled.
Right, right. That your policy will cancel on such and such a date. And that date has to be more than 10 days from the notice of cancellation. Okay. And actually there's an argument too, right, Lawrence, about how whether that's from the time they received it or the time they sent
Sometimes if it's, you don't get the letter and
they send it, the date or
it's the date, the stamp date,
right? Stamp date, yes.
Right.
But you could get it a week later. Day later,
maybe
right?
From the
sometimes you don't get your mail right away, right?
Right. Okay. And so anyway, the bottom line is they have to send you a letter giving you this 10-day notice, okay, in order for the policy to cancel. And what happens, and I've seen it so many times, people will get these notices, will sometimes never get these notices, and the insurance company will say, hey, you know what, your policy was canceled, 3 days before the loss because you didn't make that November payment. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I never got a notice. And then, when we request the notice as attorneys and they don't have it, or it's, 5 days later,
Yes, that's different.
Or they'll
Policy's
tell us
not
they can't
canceled.
find it, right?
or they can't find it, right?
Yeah.
Policy is not canceled. So they still can pay that premium. That means they'll still have
Yes.
that chance
Yes.
to get that policy enforced.
This is the reason you have to
Pay your,
contact. No,
still pay your premiums. But yeah,
Contact your lawyer.
but it's a good
Yes.
reason to contact an
Yes.
attorney.
I mean, the reason I say that, right, is because 24-hour notice. Okay, did you know about that?
No.
Okay, do you read your insurance policy?
Yes,
Okay, it's about
but some people.
Yeah,
they
how
don't.
many-
You do? Really?
Yes,
I don't.
That's amazing.
I do.
You're 1 in
I mean,
100.
even the small letters
Oh,
at the
okay.
bottom, which are very important sometimes.
I'd love to be your insurance agent. You're like,
Right.
what does the D, E, R, and F all stand for?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is without contacting a lawyer, you know, that knows Michigan law, how else would you know that you have to make a police report within 24 hours?
4
Right.
hours
Okay.
بالضبط.
How else would you
Yes.
know that?
And I think we should talk about that a little more, actually. I mean, so the uninsured motorist provision, which is what that 24 hours typically applies to, right? The uninsured motorist provision is when, let's say somebody hits you, right? This is so this is no fault of your own. You're on the street, you've done nothing wrong. You have your premiums paid, you have your own policy, okay? Somebody hits you and they don't have insurance because so they violated the law.
Let her.
You know, what happens then?
There you
Okay.
go. Because you are going into a very
Sure.
different, and
Yeah.
then now I
Yes,
have
let
to.
her- let
Of
her-
course, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Let her
Please.
translate the first one and then.
I know
We'll
you're
go
very
back.
excited.
Yeah,
and
excited.
then-
We're excited to be back.
She hasn't been here in a while.
Okay, go ahead.
اوكي مثل ما قلنا
نعم.
لانه اذا انت الانشورنس لو عندك اي غلط بالبنك او
طبعا العفو مستمعينا، هي دا تختصر بالضبط لانه هو دي ينطي هوايه تفاصيل، فهي دا تختصرها حتى يفهمها المستمع.
بالضبط.
نعم.
اذا عندك اي غلط بالبنك او اي لاي سبب من الاسباب البيمنت مالتك مال الانشورنس ما وصل لاهل الانشورنس.
نعم.
وانت ما تدري وما حد قال لك من يصير حادث. ليش رأسا تخبر الانشورنس؟ لان انت لك حق اذا خلال 10 ايام من ماكو دفع الانشورنس لازم يدز لك البريد يقول لك بانه انت ترى ما عندك انشورنس من فلان يوم. اذا ما مستلم انت هاي الرساله واحنا نطلبها من عندهم ومرات ما يجاوبونه ومرات ما موجوده
طبعا.
ومرات ما يقدرون يلقوها
يعني مو موجوده اصلا.
اكزاكتلي.
نعم.
زين هاي الاشياء اهل الجاليه ما يعرفون بيها.
نعم.
فجدا مهم هاي احنا راسا بهيجي حاله انت بعد لك حق
10 ايام عندك انت ايضا او
إيه؟
اكثر يجوز.
اذا ما دازيرك الرساله
اذا ما دازير الرساله انت احتياطي ماشي
تدفع المصاريف ويصير عندك انشورنس وماشي مالتك الانشورنس.
نعم.
وحتى لو يقولون لا يصير تقدر تروح ورا الانشورنس مال
الشخص اللي ضربك
مال الستيت.
مال الستيت ايضا.
يس.
طبعا اذا واحد عنده سؤال استفسار يقدر يخابرنا على 586 825 2015 وتليفون المكتب
is 248-702-6641.
نعم.
الشغله الثانيه
نعم.
اللي كلش همينه جدا مهمه، انت ماشي بطريقك وتمشي واجا واحد ضربك وانهزم، هاي هم إلها قوانين خاصه.
نعم.
وهسه راح يشرح لنا اياها
احنا نسميها هيت اند ران.
هيت اند ران بالضبط.
نعم.
لانه واحد انضربك وانهزم.
نعم. Yes.
So again, the question is, you know, you've just been hit. It's not your fault. You sit there, and this person that hits you, you find out has no insurance. You no insurance at all. What do? You know, they're required to by law to have insurance, right? But that doesn't get you any money just because they violate the law. But what could is your own uninsured motorist policy provision. And you know, Lawrence, I'll ask you. Do you have an uninsured motorist provision on your policy?
I do.
Absolutely.
And you know, sometimes they are, you know, big policies, right? So like I think my policy is my UN policy I think is 500,000. So just imagine you don't make a police report within 24 hours. You lose the opportunity of any chance at getting
any amount of bodily injury.
Bodily injury, you know, policy, which like I said could be huge. I mean, what if you had a serious injury and you could have collected that whole 500,000,
right?
And you can't because of one simple mistake or whatever you want to call it. That you didn't do.
You just didn't get around to it.
Didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
مثل ما قلنا هسه بانه اذا انت تسوق واجا احد ضربك ويطلع ما عنده انشورنس لو انهزم، وانت الضربه مالتك جدا
قويه
قويه، لو اضرار قويه ما تدري.
نعم.
هاي يسموها مال العطل وضرر.
نعم.
جدا جدا مهم بانه كل واحد عنده هاي الفقره، بانه هو مختارها بالانشورنس مالته، بانه اذا احد ضربك وما عنده انشورنس، لو احد ضربك وانهزم يسموها uninsured. اوكي. هاي تغطي مال العطل وضرر، هاي فلوسها تجي مباشره للزبون نفسها، لا تطلع من عندها اي مصاريف مالت الطبابه او اي شيء. هاي جدا مهمه. القانون بميشيغان وقسم من الانشورنسز لازم تخبرهم خلال 24 ساعه، ولا بعدين تخسر هاي الفقره، ما يخلوك انت تختارها.
So so I think the point here is when the first time period is expiring in just 24 hours after your accident, if you don't know what all the requirements are under Michigan law, which I think it's fair to say most people don't, it's probably a good idea to contact an attorney and ask.
بالضبط. أهم شيء بأنه إذا أنت ما عندك إلمام كامل بالقوانين مال ميشيغان ومال الحوادث السيارات، أحسن شيء بأنه إحنا مثل ما نقول إحنا مالتنا مجانيا الاستشارة. اتصل
خابر أنت ما خسران شيء.
بالضبط. اتصل بينا، نقدر نمشي وياك، نقول لك بالضبط إيش لازم تسوي وشنو النقاط اللي لازم تتخذها مباشرة حتى نساعدكم. حتى ليش بعدين ورا أعياد وما عندي وقت، ورا العيد ومدري وبعدين ورا العيد it's too late، تأخرنا وبعدين مع الأسف كل شيء ما
وطبعا
يعني نخسر.
الاستشارات مجانية
بالضبط.
يتكلمون اللغة العربية
بالضبط،
يقدرون أنه يتناقشون، يحجون كلداني، كل شيء يعرفون.
نعم
فسهلة.
So and I think the next thing we were going to talk about, Lawrence, was the requirement for bus accidents, or specifically, I should say, any transportation authority claims.
Right. So this is another thing that kind of came to mind, right? So get into a car accident and you're treating, everything seems to be fine, and then you go to a lawyer 6 months later and seems that you had a car accident with the city of Detroit, for example, right? That's where this would apply.
Right.
And 60 days is up. And the law says you have to give them notice within 60 days of the accident. Now you can't pursue a claim against them.
And not only notice, but written notice.
Written notice, right? So how
يعني لازم written.
Yeah, but how would you know that? How would you know that?
I don't know.
Well, unless you are looking up the statutes as you're getting in an accident.
So if you get into a severe accident, have severe injuries with the city of Detroit, and you don't give them notice within 60 days, you can't make nothing.
Generally speaking, your claims are going to be barred. That's exactly right.
Don't want to take that chance.
Nope.
النقطة الأخرى بأنه أنت كنت بحادث سيارة بالباس بالترانسبورتيشن كنا مال السيتي. وأكثر الناس ما يعرفون بأنه لازم عندك خلال 60 يوم لازم تخبر السيتي اوف ديترويت. اوكي. لانه انت كنت بالباس مثلا، بالباس وانت واقف تريد تنزل من الباس واجا واحد ضربك وانت وقعت من الضربه وتاذيت كلش. وتروح تتعالج وبعدين تقول ورا 6 أشهر تجي تقول أنا متأذي من الضربة. مع الأسف لازم نخبر السيتي خلال 60 يوم، لازم السيتي ولو الترانسبورتيشن إذا أنت كنت بالمال الطبابة ترانسبورتيشن مثل رايح للثيرابي، لا عندك 60 يوم ولازم تكون نخبرهم عن طريق رسالة، لازم توصلهم رسالة خلال 60 يوم. ورا 60 يوم ما إلك حق تقدم أي شيء ضدهم.
ورا 60 يوم.
نعم.
And I think we should point out too that it's not just the city of Detroit, right? This could be a smart bus.
That's just an example,
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You know, any transportation authority.
That's what I said. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, these are very, very specific rules.
Yeah,
you know,
they are.
يعني انت باي باص بالديدات باص لو بالسمارت باص اللي هذول احنا
الباصات احنا نسميها باصات الامانه.
بالضبط.
نعم.
لو انت بالترانسبورتيشن مثلا تروح
مع المطار دولة سيارات
بالضبط.
نعم.
مع المطار مع التاكسي مالت اذا تروح للثيرابي تروح لاي مكان، حتى اكو قسم من السيتيز يساعدون الكبار بالعمر يودوهم ويجيبوهم، هاي كلها ترانسبورتيشن.
نعم.
هاي كلها لازم يخبروهم خلال 60 يوم.
جيد.
I just want to remind the listeners, so we're on a contingency fee basis, right? So we never take any money from our client's pocket. So why not get this coverage for no out of pocket nothing out of pocket? We're going to take care of everything. Why not?
Exactly.
Just give us a call. The intake will take an hour maybe.
We only collect if we recover for the clients.
We need an hour of their time and then we can get started on their case.
And also our consultation is free.
Right.
First thing you get in an accident, call us and get our.
Why not get this? Get the protection that you
يعني
need.
واحد العفو من يصير عنده حادث
اي احنا الاستشاره مجانيه.
استشاره مجانيه.
راسا نتصل بالمحامي.
شغله ثانيه
واللي هي احنا ابدا ما ناخذ ولا
دولار
ولا فلس احمر.
ولا فلس احمر نسميها. نعم.
من الزبون. يا
It's funny, yeah.
It's funny, yeah.
Penny.
Yeah, any penny.
And it's funny.
And it is funny, yes. ما ناخذ ولا فلس احمر من اي زبون، لانه احنا نشتغل على بانه اذا حصلنا من القضيه اي شيء من الانشورنس ناخذ الثلث والثلثين لهم.
نعم.
اذا ما حصلنا اي شيء ما ناخذ اي شيء من الزبون، فانت ما خسران اي شيء بالبدء الاخير.
نعم.
اتصل بمحامي، الاستشاره مجانيه، وحتى لا تكون متاخر.
يعني
حقوقك ما تسقط. بالضبط، اهم شيء حقوقك.
يعني دائما تتصلون بمكتب المحامي لورنس قاجي على 248-702-6641.
والخطوط طبعا مفتوحه، يقدرون يخابرون
اي واحد
هنا.
عنده سؤال استفسار على هيك موضوع اللي دا يسمعنا مثلا يقدر يتصل بينا على 586-825-2015.
Another thing I just thought of, John, too, is at the beginning of a case, someone doesn't have a lawyer and they're going through their own order of priority, right? And trying to figure out which insurance company to go through.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes you're going through the wrong insurance company. A client comes to us,
100%.
5-6 months later, and they've been going through billing the wrong insurance company, and we find that out, and we fix it.
Yeah. And that actually, and that's a really good point, because a lot of people think, oh, well, if it's already been, a year and a half, 6 months, 30 days, whatever it is, maybe it's too late to check, but it's never too late to check with the attorney because, very frequently there are things we can solve.
I mean, like I'll let Tamara translate, but I have an example where we represented a client and they had 2 policies in the household, and they were going through one policy and not the other.
Right.
As you know, John, it should be a pro rata share in those situations, right?
Yeah. If they're both equal order priority, absolutely. Yeah.
And how many times a day we hear, it was not my fault, it is his fault. We go always after his insurance. Why my insurance?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You need this kind of clarification. The reason I'm talking about it today is it needs to be done at the beginning of a case.
Exactly. Yes. أهم شيء همينة هواية ناس يقول أنا أعرف عندي انشورنس وأنا أسوي الانشورنس مالتي، خاصة إحنا هنا هواية يوميا نسمعها.
نعم.
أنا ما غلطت، ليش أنت تجون على الانشورنس مالتي؟ روحوا على الانشورنس مالته.
قوانين.
بالضبط. Michigan is a no fault state.
نعم.
Michigan كل واحد اللي صار بحادث سيارة لازم يروح ويا الانشورنس مالته. أكو قسم من الناس عندهم أكثر من انشورنس واحد بالبيت.
ردت أسألي السؤال.
عندهم أكثر من انشورنس واحد بالبيت، مثلا عندهم 2 أو 3. لازم تخبر 3 مو بس واحد. وعندنا طبعا سنة، فواحد لا يتأخر، وأحسن شيء رأسا واحد يخبرهم
نفس يوم الحادث.
بالضبط.
The same day of the accident.
I mean, the sooner the better is always always the way to go.
Yeah.
إذا واحد مسوي تقرير مع الشرطة، مسوي تقرير شرطة كامل ومتصل بالانشورنس، وباقي الشغله يعني عاصيه مثلا فتره واجا ورا شهر اجا يومكم،
أي.
شنو الاجراء؟ هذا قصدي.
Okay, he is asking, somebody got in a car accident, he got his police report made, he made his
He
claim.
called the insurance, I called the insurance.
Yeah, he made a claim, and it's not going well. It is not moving.
Yes.
And after
Within
a
a month,
month
after a
or
month,
two, they come to us. What is our procedure from there?
Yeah.
That's a great question. So there's a lot of things that are going to be going on at that point, right? So the first thing is we want to make sure, like this is what Lawrence was just referencing. We want to make sure that they've notified the proper insurers, because there are many reasons why a claim might not be progressing. Okay, so first, it could be an order of priority issue. The order of priority means which insurance company is ultimately, or insurance companies might ultimately be responsible for payment of your benefits. Sometimes people have put on notice an insurance company, like, as an example, you are in a relative's car, so you file an insurance claim with the relative's insurance company. Okay, you think that's correct because you're in that car. Makes sense logically.
Yes.
But Michigan law doesn't follow regular logic like we think in our heads. What it does is it says, in general, first it's your own insurance company that has to pay. So people may have filed that claim with a relative's insurance company, and the relative's insurance company says, well, we have to investigate this. Nothing happens for 60,
this is the question.
90, 120 days. You're sitting there, you're like, what's going on? And then maybe they send you a letter, or maybe they don't, saying, we're not responsible.
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, there may be an order priority issue.
اوكي. واحدة من الأمثلة الجواب لسؤال حضرتك بأنه إذا الشخص كان بسيارة مالت قرايبه،
نعم،
يقول أنا كنت بسيارة قرايبي أروح ويا الانشورنس مال قرايبي لأن هي سيارته، صح لا مو صحيح؟ ويفتح الكليم ومثل ما قلت عنده شرطة، وشهر شهرين ثلاثة فاتت وماكو شيء، يقولوا له أوكي أكو لازم يفتحون كليم. ما يقولوا لك بالبداية إيه لو لا، ويقولوا لك أوكي راح نسوي تحقيق، ولو يدزوا لك رسالة بأنه يقولوا لك أنت ما عندك تغطية ويانا ورا شهرين ثلاثة، مرات ما يدزون كل شيء يخلوك.
وفي بعض الأحيان إحنا كسالة،
وفي بعض الأحيان إحنا منبع بريدنا في وقت محدد.
صحيح.
هاي همنا واحدة من الأشياء اللي جدا مهمة. فذاك الوقت من يجي يمنا ويقول هذول الانشورنس، أول شيء إحنا نسويه من نشوف إيش الزبون، إن إحنا نقول نمشط كل شيء بأنه إيش عنده هو إنشورنس، وشنو الأولية والأولوية، وياهو تمشي أكثر، وهو المن مقدم. نبدي نرتب القضية من البداية.
From the first day.
إيه بالضبط.
Right. So again, one of the things that we'll be doing in that situation where there's been a long delay in the insurance making any payments or there being any progress on the claim, we'll first look at order priority, but then we do other things too, right? We're going to make sure that we obtain all the required documentation, for example, that the insurance company wants. They may be doing an investigation. They may think, and there's so many reasons, I couldn't possibly go into them all. So just to keep this concise, they may be questioning, something about the accident, whether, there's something suspicious in the claim. They could be questioning a provider. Maybe there's a bill that they're looking at that they think is a little bit extraordinary for the circumstance, or maybe the bill's too high. They could be looking at, the other drivers involved. Maybe fault is disputed and it's a bodily injury claim. There are so many things. The insurance.
They want excuse.
What's that?
Excuses.
Yes. They want. There are many different things that they can look at, and then they can call, well, we're investigating the claim. And in an investigation, they could use their own doctors to examine you, right? There's so many ways that a claim could sit there if nothing's done for years and years before anything happens. And then at that point, they usually will use one of these things that we're talking about today, which is the statute of limitations, to say, it's too late. We don't have to do it anymore, which, seems a little unfair.
Happened,
but it does happen.
Oh, yes, it does happen. Yes.
It happens
and
frequently.
Actually, we had a meeting yesterday, me and one of the other lawyers,
yes,
till 6:00 in the evening. And because of that issue,
same issue.
with the client.
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
واحدة من الأشياء اللي جدا مهمة جدا جدا مهمة
نعم.
بأنه لازم تخبر المحامي خلال السنة الأولى.
هو هذا
لازم.
ضروري جدا
جدا. لأنه قانونيا بمشيغان عندك سنة واحدة تخبر الانشورنس مالتك على مود الطبابة.
نعم.
لأنه إذا ورا السنة ويوم يقول لك أنا ما مسؤول على هاي
العلاجات يعني
ماكو
المصاريف
بعد
ماكو كليم.
إيه إذا ماكو كليم خلال السنة انسى يروح حقك.
نعم.
لك حق سنة واحدة. واحدة من الأشياء اللي هواية ناس يجون بأنه الكليم مدى يمشي مالتهم مو بس لأنه الانشورنس، قولي الانشورنس صحيح مالتهم.
نعم.
أوكي. الانشورنس يريد يسوي تحقيق شلون صار الحادث وهل شلون قوة الحادث وليش هاي الأعراض، هل فعلا هي من هيك حادث؟
من جراء الحادث
بالضبط. هل الحادث فعلا صار؟
يعني
يا طبعا كل شيء
كل شيء. بس انت عندك ايفيدنس، عندك الصور، عندك الشغلات، عندك
بالضبط.
الفيديو، عندك شغلات.
بالضبط.
كاميرا.
هم ما يسوون اي شيء لان عندهم تحقيق.
طيب.
واحدة من التحقيق يريدون مثلا يحجون ويا الزبون، يريدون يحجون ويا يشوفون الفيديوهات، يشوفون هالاشياء.
نعم.
واحدة من الاسباب الطبابة، بانه انت ليش تروح هالقد للطبابة وانت مثلا الضربة كانت صغيرة. يريدون مثلا تقارير طبية تبين بأنه فعلا هاي من وراء الحادث. هل أنت كنت قبل الحادث متضرر لو بعد الحادث تضررت؟ هو يعني نقدر نقعد هسه فد ساعتين نقول لك شنو الأشياء اللي الانشورنس اللي يطلع حجج بيها
حتى يعصمص بيها.
اللي يريد حتى ما يدفع
فلوس.
بالضبط.
فأنتوا تطلعوها من حلقة السبع مثل ما يقولون.
بالضبط. أول ما يجي الزبون بأنه إذا نعرف أكو أي تأخير نتصل بهم نشوف شكو التأخير.
نعم. وليش؟
نسأل بأنه يجزونا رسالة كاملة.
نعم.
بأنه شي يريدون بالضبط. أكو مرات حتى تليفونك يريدون البنك أكاونت مالتك، شي يطلب لك شي يطلع لك، كل شيء يريدون يعرفون.
So the short answer is we find out what the issue is.
Right? That's right.
طبعا هو
could be many things.
النهاية المفروض كلها تصب وين؟ في مكتب المحامي.
بالضبط.
واحنا the good thing is we've dealt with every single issue hundreds of times.
Oh yeah.
It's always the same issues with the insurance companies. We've seen them over and over and over again. We know how to handle them. If it's something that you're in a bad position for, we'll tell you. If it's something that we can fight, we'll tell you too.
مرات الاشياء اللي يطلبوها غير معقوله.
نعم.
واكو مرات اشياء معقوله واللي احنا نقدر راسا يعني نقدمها. لو مثلا نسوي اجتماع ويا الانشورنس ويا الزبون واحنا وتنفك القضيه
حتى تدافعون عن القضيه مالكم.
بالضبط.
نعم.
بالضبط.
So Titi, can you mention that we have dealt with every single issue. There's no new issues, right? Like
with everyone's
professional, there's always certain issues that you deal with, right?
And everyone have different.
It's always the same issues over and over again.
Same issue or different?
Same issues.
Same.
There's maybe 50 general issues. It's always the same. Those general issues.
And and by the way, if the callers want to call in, we can even work on some of the stuff right on the radio for them.
Yeah.
They can call to our office.
If you've had any issues with any insurance companies, give us a call.
Yeah.
كل الاشياء اللي الانشورنس تطلبها هي اشياء يعني صح هي هوايه بس محدده ودائما تنعاد. هاي كل هالاشياء اللي
الخبره مالكم
وكلها احنا ماشيين بيها كلها.
Yeah. And you know what else we have done? We've also litigated a lot of these issues. So
we
know how they play out in court.
Yes.
Right? Not just how they play out with the adjuster talking back and forth, how they actually play out in court, what these orders say.
Yeah.
We've been through it all, from the beginning all the way to the end. So we know how to most issues we know how they'll play out.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's always new issues that are coming up before the courts. Sometimes they're different courts of appeals rulings.
Let's translate this and then we'll ask.
هاي المشاكل مو بس نحلها بالمكتب.
نعم.
ولا بس نحلها ويا ابو الانشورنس، حتى من نصعد للمحكمه العليا. هاي احنا كلها ماشيين بيها وكلها عندنا احنا يعني خبره بيها. اللي عنده اي مشكله، حتى اللي يقدر يسال، اللي اي احد عنده سؤال ويريد يخابر، اكو اشياء نقدر نجاوبها على التليفون
مباشرة.
نعم.
And even a little bit deeper than that, we also know, generally speaking, how certain judges rule on certain issues.
Yes.
So
That's true.
we get a certain judge, we will probably be able to tell you what the outcome may be, depending on whether we had that issue with that same judge in the past.
Or at least the probability that
Yeah.
we go that direction.
مرات حتى ويا الحاكم، إذا نعرف الحاكم، لأن نعرف كل حاكم شلون طريقته من يشتغل، لو شنو الأسئلة مالته، لو إحنا ماشيين ويا هذا الحاكم على هيك قضية أو هيك ظروف من القضية نفسها، فحتى هاي نعرفها.
يعني لكثرة القضايا اللي
نعم.
مرت على المكتب،
بالضبط.
أنتوا تعرفون حتى القاضي أو الحاكم أو الانشورنس شنو الحل مالهم بالنسبة لهذه القضية.
صحيح.
This is هذا هم
كلش مهمة.
مهم جدا. مهم
العلاقات جدا
يعني
مهمة.
يجي محامي مثلا عنده 20 30 قضية 40 قضية مسوي شكل، ويجي محامي مسوي 2000 قضية
طبعا.
شكل ثاني.
Exactly.
So that's what I was going to say. So because we've dealt with so many cases, there's only a certain amount of adjusters out there, a certain amount of defense lawyers out there, a certain amount of judges out there. We've dealt with so many cases that we've had same adjusters, same defense lawyers,
تعرفون كل
same judges
الخبايا
on these cases.
Yes. حتى المسؤول القضية من صفحة الانشورنس يسموه adjuster. أني واحدة من
انتم تعرفون
من نحكي وياه تمارا
exactly.
we have this case and this case and this case يعني عندنا الكيسات وياه نفسها، نعرف شو يريدون، لو شنو الطريقة اللي يمشون بيها حتى نحل المشاكل وياهم.
Right. Same thing with adjusters. After we file a suit, the lawyers for the insurance companies,
exactly.
it's always the same guys.
Yeah.
Which is, I think,
which
in
is
my
a good
opinion,
thing.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we'll know what certain adjusters want to get things paid. We'll know what how certain insurance companies work in litigation.
Yeah.
Which ones are we think are going to pay at the end, which ones we're going to have an issue with that we may have to go to trial for. It's good to have this information, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's good because you also build relationships with some of those people. And, sometimes you have to fight, right? You have to fight hard and you get into serious arguments. But for the most part, you try and be collegiate when you can, right? And you get along with people when you can. And
it's kind of hard for me to do, but
we do our best. And I think both sides tend to try to do that. Even when you are adversarial, even when it's an adversarial nature of a claim.
العفو. عندنا شخص يسأل لكنه شنو يريد التليفون، فاحنا التليفون هو 586-825-2015 586-825-2015. تقدرون تخابرون هسه يجاوبكم المحامي. Yes. They need a number for slip and fall.
okay. أهم شيء بأنه إحنا علاقتنا ويا الإنشورنس ويا الأجسترز ويا المحامين مال الإنشورنس ويا الحكام.
نعم.
الخبرة جدا مهمة.
هي خبرة.
بالضبط. الخبرة جدا مهمة، بأنه أي قضية مرات تعرف شو يريدون، لو ما تتفاهمون على نقطة هي مو عركة، بس الطب بحوار
وانتم بالنسبه لكم عندكم الخبره
بالضبط،
تعرفون انه هو بالضبط الشيء يريد ايضا.
بالضبط.
نعم.
نعرف هذا المحامي راح نصعد وياه للمحكمه العليا.
نعم.
هذا المحامي لا يريد فلان شيء وفلان شيء وفلان شيء حتى يدفع. هذا المحامي يريد هيك شيء، يعني كل واحد نعرف شيء بالضبط شيء يريد ماكو، وحتى تمشي القضيه.
نعم.
يس. فهاي الخبره جدا مهمه.
نعم.
And also, just because we're on the topic, it's good to have these insurance adjusters, these defense lawyers know who we are too. So they've seen us on a number of cases. They know how we work. They know we're not going to take a small offer, and generally speaking, I think that kind of helps our settlements overall.
وهذا مهم.
والشغله الاخرى اللي هي جدا مهمه هي من الطرفين، يعرفون احنا مالتنا المكتب، يعرفون محامينا، يعرفون احنا شلون طريقه عمل مالتنا. احنا ما راح نقبل بتسويه صغيره على مود فشي شو
كبير.
They know when they see our name on something, it's going to be different than
it's scary for them.
I'm not going to say it's scary, but they know that we're not going to back down and we're going to do the right thing for our clients.
Yes, 100%.
ما راح نتراجع عن
قضية.
الزبون مالتنا، وما نتراجع عن القضيه، وراح نظل نمشي
أنا
وراح نظل ندفع
دائما
اكثر.
يقول المحامي لورنس احنا نحارب في سبيل
بالضبط.
الكاستمر
exactly
الكلاينت.
yes
Client,
Yeah.
we're in.
It's number one
It's always
for
about
you.
our clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always. Not about the insurance company. It's not about anything else. We have our clients' best interest in mind, and that's it.
فعلا هذا الشيء
That is
مهم
my,
يعني
that is my main
جدا
concern always.
حلو، وهذا النجاح.
To me, it doesn't matter anything else.
I know.
Whatever else.
يعني دائما يقول المحامي
محامي.
لورنس أنا أصرف
Yes.
حتى لو أنه القضية ما صارت، أنا بالنسبة لي ما راح يعني أحاسب المقابل.
الزبون
الزبون
نهائيا
ما له علاقة.
لا.
نعم.
نهائيا
إلى أن تنكسب القضية،
طبعا.
وهذا الشيء راقي.
So I think we were talking about the notice requirements of various
Yeah.
sorts, and we talked about the 24-hour notice to the police in order to get your uninsured motorist claim. We had talked about the 60-day notice to transportation authorities. There's another one. 60 days after that, there's within 121 days of your accident, basically, you have to notify the correct governmental agency if there was a defective highway condition. So for example, let's say you're going through a traffic light and it's late at night. Okay. And this has happened before.
Yes.
I've had cases like this. Okay. And the light is out. And then on the other side, that traffic light is also out. Two cars come zooming at each other. Neither one sees that it's an intersection. Both go through and collide. Not a great situation. Now, one thing you could argue in a situation like that is that the light being out, not the intersection not being lit, was a defective highway, right? But in order to make that claim, you must again provide that written notice. Okay, and in this case, within 120 days to the correct governmental agency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that in and of itself is tricky because depending on where you are, the roads could be maintained by maybe it's the city, maybe it's the county, maybe it's even the state. So
I mean, we've even seen the same road have different cities.
Cities,
on each
yes.
side.
that's right.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Sometimes three
Yeah.
cities.
yeah,
or
Like
four.
8 Mile, for example.
Eight-
right?
eight-
Inside
8
the
Mile,
city.
all the
100,
mile roads.
yes.
Maybe it's
Right. All the mile
like
roads.
corner. Each corner is for
different.
city. different city.
Absolutely, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
Woodbury
Exactly.
has a lot of roads like
Yes.
that where one
One-
side is Royal Oak.
Yeah.
You know.
No,
100%.
Sterling Heights and Warren. There's only street.
That's
You know?
right. That's right. I mean, you can take Shaner Road all the way down to Detroit from Sterling Heights, or
That means many cities.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
go, or you could take 14 Mile across.
Right.
How many cities does that
How
go
many
through?
cities?
And you are
I-
talking about Wayne County, and I'm going to talk about Oakland County. We have Haggerty and 8 Mile.
There you go.
In that intersection, there's 4 cities. It's Farmington Hills,
There you go.
Northville, Livonia, and Novi.
That's right.
So it depends which corner.
That's exactly right.
كل كورنر هو
Yeah.
تابع لمدينة معينة.
Yeah, and you have to know which city. You have to know which city.
Which city is
Yeah.
involved,
That's
right?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and again, it's not even always a city. Sometimes there's a transportation authority that's managing the road. It could be a county.
Oh, that
Right.
means if
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
more than 2 cities or 3, it would be a county. Maybe.
No, not
No.
not necessarily.
No,
It,
that's
See how
it
confusing this can
depends.
get? You see how confusing this is?
See,
No, no,
It is
I'm not. It's
confusing.
not confused, but I
It is.
confused you.
No, it is. No, it is.
No.
It's confusing stuff.
Yes,
It is.
It is.
لأن لافونيا تابعة لوين كاونتي،
نعم.
بينما Farmington Hills and Northville
Macomb?
and no,
Oakland?
Oakland
Oakland.
County. So it depends which county. It doesn't have to be 2 cities.
Oh.
So it is confusing. So it is the best
صعبة
to
مو
ask.
سهلة.
لا
فالمحامي
اي خل احكي بالعربي لان
إيه،
أنا
يحكي
بدي
عربي.
أحكي
إيه.
إنجليزي.
عادي يعني.
Sorry. اوكي
معظمهم يفهمون
إيه.
يعني.
نرجع الى الموضوع مالتنا بانه احنا قلنا لازم نخبر عندنا نخبر الانشورنس خلال 24 ساعه ونسوي بوليس ريبورت خلال 24 ساعه اذا كنت بالترانسبورتيشن بالنقل حافلات النقل بانه لازم تخبرهم خلال 60 يوم. بس اذا انت كنت بطريق وكمثل بانه انت بالليل لو مثلا الجو مو زين وماكو الترافيك لايت منقطع والتقاطع اظلم وتجي سيارتين ما حد شايف الاخ ويضربون، هاي لازم تخلي السيتي لو السيتي، لو الكاونتي، ومرات الستيت همينة.
هذه اذا اكو
أوكي.
كونستراكشن او اذا اكو لايت مطفي
لأي سبب
لأي سبب.
من الأسباب
For any reason.
لازم تخبر الجفرمنت
نعم.
خلال 120 يوم
نعم.
و121 يوم، وهاي همينة لازم كتابيا. لازم إذا تعبر هذا الوقت تخسر. مثل ما هسه كنا دا نشرح اكو هواية تقاطعات بيها مو سيتي وحدة، بيها 2 3 4 سيتيز. مرات التقاطع مو للسيتي، للكاونتي، مرات مو للكاونتي، مرات للستيت. فهاي شلون جدا مهمة بأنه احنا نخبر المحامي.
المحامي يعرفها
بالضبط.
نعم.
ليش نخبر المحامي من وقت؟ لأنه همينا عندنا لازم وقت نعرف وين صار، وهذا إلما نتابع وهذا إلما نتابع. كتابنا وكتابكم البريد يتعطل مرات.
نعم.
فأهم شيء بأنه رأسا واحد يخبر المحامي لهالأشياء.
And you know, Sahar, this is just 3, laws that we're talking about. There are hundreds of these laws that we have to follow. We're just giving you guys some examples.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So
أكو
آلاف
كل الأمثال جدا هواي، والقوانين هم كلش هواي. فأحسن شيء واحد يعني يستشار محامي. هاي أهم شيء. We had a case we worked on, and it was also it was this time, Christmas time.
We've worked on so many cases.
No, it's been I think already 2 years.
Okay.
Yes, and I mean 2 cars. The intersection there was no light.
Yeah.
It was very big accident.
very unfortunate.
And there was a lot of kids involved. So it is it was one county and one city, and we did all that, and we figured that all out on time. Thank God.
Yeah.
And everybody's safe.
It was a big investigation.
Yes, everybody's good now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there is a lot that goes into it. Jumping ahead a little bit, there's always the big one, which is
let's talk about the 2 big ones.
The 2 big ones.
Yeah.
So there's the 1 year and the 3 year. Let's talk about the 1 year first, right? Okay. So the 1 year is,
which is a little not as crucial, like the 24-hour thing. Who knows about that, right? The 60-day thing, 120-day. Generally speaking, within a year, I think these certain things should already be done, but we're going to talk about them anyway.
Right. So
we still get calls.
I know we do,
after
but,
the
right.
year,
I mean,
we can do it after.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've gotten calls 3 days before a statute of limitations, right, has run on and this, and I should back up. Again, we're talking about motor vehicle accidents, right? We're talking about 2 types of claims. There's a personal injury protection claim, and that's for your medical bills, help around the house, lost wages, things like that. And then there's a bodily injury claim, which is generally speaking going to be against the at-fault driver. Okay, the personal injury protection claim, that is, again, for the medical, wage loss replacement services, household services, that is a 1-year notice requirement. So you have to notify the insurance company within a year. But then there's a second 1-year requirement, which is that you must sue within 1 year of a claim that's been denied.
اوكي، احنا بدنا نحكي على طبعا حوادث سيارات. حوادث سيارات بها قسمين: قسم الطبابة والرواتب والمساعدات البيتية والصحية والمايلات، والقسم الآخر للعطل وضرر. القسم الأول للطبابة بأنه لازم تخبر الانشورنس خلال سنة، تخبرهم، لازم تسوي كليم، ولازم ترفع قضية خلال سنة إذا رفضوا الكيس.
هو يعني المحامي يسويها،
طبعاً.
مو الشخص ما يقدر يسويها. لو يقدر لكنه يخسر دائما.
يقدر، بس هو ما
يعرف
القوانين. بالضبط. وليش احنا بدنا نقولها؟ لانه اكو لحد هاليوم تجينا مكالمات بانه ورا سنه يجي يقول كان عندي حادث ورا سنه مع الاسف ما نقدر نسوي. مرات يجون قبل 3-4 أيام.
It's not always their fault. They could be treating with their health insurance. They don't know that they have to make a claim, right?
وما يعرفون، يظلون يروحون عن طريق الهيلث
يروحوا يجيوا
ما يعرفون.
فنصيحة هي شنو؟ أنه دائما من يصير عندك حادث
اتصل بمحامي،
بالمحامي. والمحامي لورنس مثلا تقدر تتصل به على 248 702-6641.
And for most people that get into a car accident, you know, they may be listening and say, of course I made a claim within 1 year, right? Why would I wait a year to make a claim? Well, what if you're going to the wrong insurance company?
Exactly.
Just like the example you gave tomorrow earlier,
Yes.
right? What if you're going to the driver's insurance company? You
That's
should
right.
be going to your own or another resident relative,
Right.
right? And now 1 year has passed. Now you can't make a claim. Now you were going to the wrong insurance company. You are SOL in that case.
That's right.
Yes. مو بس لأنه أنت لازم تسوي الانشورنس خلال سنة تفتح كليم.
نعم.
احتمال أنت فاتح كليم خلال السنة الأولى
إيه.
بس فاتحها ويا الانشورنس الغلط.
بالضبط.
نعم.
نعم.
وأنت ما تدري.
زين أنتم من يصير العفو من يصير هذا الشيء سؤالي أنتم تبدون من الصفر؟
You can't.
تبدون
No, it's too late at that
It's
time.
too late.
It's too
لا
late.
إذا ورا السنة
إذا ورا سنة بس خلال السنة
خلال السنة الأولى يس.
تقدر أنت ترجع من البداية.
يس.
Okay.
In the vast majority of cases, these requirements that we're talking about
Yes.
are solid. That you cannot miss them, or you get nothing.
But within a year.
Well, for this particular one,
Yes.
Yes.
For this one. Yeah.
Yes. He's asking in a year.
Yeah.
If they come, are you going to begin from the day one?
Yeah,
And
but
we said-
here's a problem when
There's
let's
not
say
always
you
enough time.
come to exactly what if they come, you know, someone comes to us a week before the 1 year
Yes.
and we have to figure out which insurance company we're going through, right? Let's say they had a resident relative, a mom, dad, brother, sister that had insurance. Well, they don't want to give them their insurance. They don't want them to go to their insurance. Now we have 4 days to figure out who the insurance company was and
Oh,
put them
that-
on notice.
It's
not enough time.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it really can be a serious issue that that can be hard to push past. You don't know how many times we've encountered resistance from, you know, relatives or estranged spouses. Believe it or not, an estranged spouse's policy may apply to you. And guess what? If you're no longer talking to your ex because, I don't know, you guys got in a huge argument, they are not the first person that's going to be volunteering their auto insurance company information to you.
So now we don't know who to give notice to. So even if you come to us before the 1 year, who do we give notice to? There's
Yeah, we don't even know who their insurance is.
احنا نقول قبل السنة.
قبل السنة بهواي
Right.
لازم
Yeah.
نعملها.
إذا قبل السنة تجينا ب5 أيام بأسبوع
ما تقدر تسوي
مرات
شيء.
مو كفاية.
لا.
إلنا خاصة احنا ما نعرف مرات الأهل ما يقبلون ينطون
الانشورنس مالهم.
الانشورنس مالتهم.
نعم.
مرات الزوج
الزوجة ما تقبل ما ينفع.
الزوج والزوجة في علاقة غير
خلاف.
زينة خلاف
خلافات.
بيناتهم وكل هي ببيت أهلها ما تقبل تنطي
ما تقبل
بالعكس
تنطي.
تقوم إنهم يعاندون.
بالعكس.
on the other side, if you come to us 6 months before the 1 year, we can do our own investigation. We can
Yeah.
send out some letters. We can figure out.
There's some time.
There's some time to
Yeah.
figure out which insurance company to go through.
إذا تجينا مثلا قبل شهر أو شهرين 6 أشهر أكيد.
We have 2 minutes.
We have to. Oh, wow. That was quick.
Yeah.
إذا تجينا قبل يعني فد شهرين 5 أشهر 6 أشهر لا نقدر نسوي
نعم.
تحقيق مالتنا نقدر نخابر نقدر نسوي اتصالات نقدر ندز الرسائل حتى توصل بالوقت المطلوب.
يعني نصيحة المحامي أنه لا تتكاسل
مهم.
من أول ما يصير الحادث. أنت بالنسبة لك أنت ريسبونس.
بالضبط.
لازم أنت تروح على المحامي تتصل به وأنت عندك تقرير من
ما
الشرطة.
شرطة خلال 24
أنت
ساعة.
متصل أيضا بالإنشورنس.
نعم الصحيح.
الصحيح طبعا.
نعم
حتى لو مو الصحيح أنت لما
مم.
تجي للمحامي راح يعدل لك إياه إذا هو بنفس اليومين.
بالضبط صحيح.
Don't
Yes.
don't let there be any uncertainty in your mind. If you want to be sure you're doing things right, give us a call.
Right.
أي.
هو
إذا تريد راحة بالك
روح على المحامي.
اتصل بمحامي.
Just the very last thing got to mention is that there's a 3-year statute of limitation for the person who's at fault. But this is not always very simple because there could be multiple drivers involved. There could be multiple owners involved, and the police reports don't always get those names right,
بالنسبة
Sometimes you don't
لل
get the names at all.
or have no names at all.
بالنسبة للفقرة الأخرى
نعم.
من الكيس هي عندك أنت 3 سنين بأنه اللي عطله ضرر وهاي همينة 3 سنين مرات مو كافية.
لا.
مرات أكو عدة قضايا عندهم عدة انشورنسز مرات ما موجودين مرات
كتابنا كتابكم.
بالضبط.
Please.
أحسن شيء
شكرا.
اتصل بالمحامي لورنس قاجي المكتب الاستشارة مجانية
248
702-6641.
Please don't wait 3 years to call us.
Thank you.
لورنس. Thank you
Thank you to our listeners.
Thank you.
شكرا ست تمارا.
يا أهلا وسهلا.
مستمعينا الأكارم أعزائنا، كنا مع المحامي لورنس قاجي. دائما اتصلوا بمكتب المحامي لورنس قاجي على 248-702-6641. استشاراتهم مجانية. ونشكر طبعا المحامي جان شرودر وأيضا الأخت تمارا. شكرا جزيلا.